Hi, I'm George from Scale Productions, and welcome to my review of the Dawn of the Dead remake. Say, have you ever wondered what would happen if you got the director of this?
Save Martha!
And the writer of this? And you got them to make a film together? Do you know what you'd end up with? That's right, a good movie. For those of you who don't know, Dawn of the Dead is a remake of the 1978 classic from George A. Romero. Personally, I'm not really that familiar with the original, although from the few clips I have seen, it does seem like a fun film. Because I have not seen the original, I am therefore judging the film as a standalone product, rather than determining which one of them is the superior version. So the plot of the movie is that a zombie apocalypse breaks out, and we follow a group of survivors of said apocalypse. Notable among these survivors include a nurse, Anna, played by Sarah Polley, a police officer, Kenneth, played by Marcellus Wallace himself, Ving Rhames, and a television salesman, Michael, played by Jake Weber. The group end up taking shelter in an abandoned shopping mall, and while in refuge encounter many other survivors and obstacles along the way. So the plot is pretty basic as it stands. A zombie apocalypse breaks out, and we follow a group of survivors as they try to, well, survive. But having a simple premise isn't always a bad thing, and the film does find new ways of keeping itself novel, whether it be through the tense moments arcs characters go through, even if they are somewhat arbitrary, and a shoot the dog kind of scene involving a survivor who got bitten. The social commentary in the original on zombies being a metaphor for consumerism is significantly downplayed in the remake, but that's not to say it doesn't come with its own, if slightly glossed over, commentary.
You have sex out of wedlock. You kill unborn children. You have man-on-man relations. When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
It's just a shame the film doesn't have any biting satire. The characters, by contrast, are not compelling exactly, but you do feel like you're there with them as they are stranded in this mall. There are some character archetypes such as the action heroine, the tough guy with a softer side, the everyman leader, the dick, the arsehole who eventually performs a heroic sacrifice, the whore. Despite this, you do genuinely want them to survive. Well, up until the ending, but I'll talk about that later. As for the zombies themselves, I heard George A. Romero wasn't a fan of the fast-paced running zombies, since the idea is because they are the dead, they should feel a lot stiffer. Well, firstly, the film treats the zombification more like a virus as opposed to the reanimated dead as such. And secondly, I personally like the use of faster zombies. They allow for more tension because you get the feeling these things are really difficult to outrun, which makes you feel a lot tenser for the characters, and the chances for their survival look considerably slimmer. Technically, the film is really well made with some superb use of camera work and lighting, and the makeup for the zombies is legitimately frightening. You can say what you will about Zack Snyder, but you have to admit, he does know how to make a film look amazing. The music and the soundtrack are also pretty good. I at least like the use of Johnny Cash during the opening credits of the film, but the jazz lounge cover of Disturbed's Down with the Sickness, while humorous and amusing, does feel somewhat out of place with the rest of the film. If there's one thing I don't really like about the film, it's the ending. The movie's end as to whether the characters survive in the end is left ambiguous, which objectively there's nothing wrong with, but subjectively it does feel wasted that we spent all this time with the characters, only for them to presumably die towards the end. It just feels pretty unsatisfactory. So in conclusion, at the end of the day, Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead isn't exactly high art or the best film ever created, but at the same time, it's not trying to be. It's there as an edge-of-your-seat rollercoaster ride of a film, with some really well-crafted scares. While the characters do feel thinly spread at times, you do feel like you're genuinely engaging with them as you're there as part of the ride. The production values are solid, as is the acting, and in terms of horror remakes, especially at the time this movie was made, I think there's worse films to be subjected to. If you're with some friends or your partner and you want to watch a movie together, and you think this film might be your cup of tea, I'd say give it a watch, as long as you're confident that you can sleep well the following night. So yeah, it's not exactly the best film ever, but it is entertaining, and sometimes that's all a film has to be. Escapism at its finest. Anyway, I've heard Zack Snyder's actually directing another zombie film scheduled to be released on Netflix, so that should be a lot of fun. As long as it doesn't have anything like this.
Why did you say that name?
Anyway, that's all from me, so I'll see you all later.